Vashon Smith, a proud alum of MCNY College, year 2014. Welcome to our wonderful celebration of purpose. Tonight, you're going to meet some amazing people and hear some amazing stories about how Metropolitan College of New York has transformed their lives. But first, I'd like to introduce you to our chairman of MCNY's board, Chuck Armstrong. Chuck?
Thank you, Vashon. The power of purpose is in embracing who you are, utilizing your unique gifts and energies to truly make a difference in the lives of others. Finding purpose is power, that by being an agent of positive change, you give that purpose meaning. In 1964, the nation's war on poverty called for local community action, and that's what Audrey Cohen did, getting a $300,000 grant from the director, Sergeant Shriver, to create an educational program that stressed maximum participation and centered around an idea that community self-empowerment would lead to self-reliance. And as you will see by these stories, these graduates are participating, working through tremendous obstacles to become agents of positive change, action with purpose, and one theme rides through: that a person's future path is not determined by their current situation. That the power of your purpose is that your dreams can and will become your reality through constructive, ethical action. I hope you will join us in supporting our little miracles on the Hudson and in the Bronx. Your support will change lives. It has been my distinct privilege to serve this institution. On behalf of the entire Board of Trustees, thank you. And now it is my distinct privilege and is my honor to introduce the 6th President of Metropolitan College of New York, Dr. Joanne Passaro.
Good evening. We are excited to welcome you in joining us in a celebration of the achievements of MCNY alumni through the publication of our new book, The Power of Purpose. The book highlights the inspiring journeys of our alumni, and it demonstrates the unique power of our curriculum, Purpose-Centered Education. MCNY's mission is to empower students through purpose-centered education to achieve their personal and professional goals, and to bring social justice and equity to our communities. Our faculty and staff are dedicated to student success, and our campus environments in Manhattan and the South Bronx have family, small campus vibes that encourage persistence, engagement, and ultimately graduation. We're grateful that you're joining us tonight, and we hope you enjoy hearing from some of our alumni. Thank you.
But now I want to introduce you to another one of our extraordinary grads, entrepreneur and a teacher, Yussuf Khan. Good evening, Yussuf.
Well, good evening, everyone. Vashon, thank you for having me. My name is Yussuf Khan. I'm an MCNY graduate, class of 2014. It's where I got my MBA in media management. And it's funny, I had been in the workplace almost 16, 17 years, and I had no desire to go back to school until I was actually invited to MCNY to be a guest speaker in a classroom, in a class on media skills. So after the class, I really got into the teaching bug, and I decided to pursue my MBA in order to teach. So I went back in 2012. The process was really easy, and 2 years later I completed the program and received my MBA in media management, which I'm very, very happy about.
You know what? You can read some amazing and more extraordinary stories in our book. This is it right here. I mean, it is a beautiful book, and I'm in it. But there are some amazing stories in here, transformations, just how we as students and entrepreneurs and teachers have just come to understanding the power of purpose, and how Metropolitan College of New York has truly changed our lives. And it's a small contribution. It's $30. There's a link in the chat, and you'll have this. You'll have this as memories. I'm so proud of it. It's a beautiful book. The pages are amazing, amazing. And please just go to the chat, Decide that you want to take part in the contribution. Decide that you want to hear about the amazing stories. And you know what? You might want to tell somebody about the amazing school so they can come and be a part of the tradition.
So, Vashon, I see you're in the book as well. So tell us about your MCNY experience.
Okay, so I guess it's now my turn. My power to purpose. In 2011, I met the wonderful Lenny Green. Yeah. So I've been working with Lenny for over 10 years as a co-host on The Quiet Storm. And I love radio. I love media. I love producing. But one night when we were at KISS, there was a caller and she was so distraught that I had to take her call. And I did the very thing that clinicians don't do. I gave out my personal number. And yeah, she changed my life. From that point on, I knew that I couldn't be a radio personality without purpose. And I found MCNY and I found the Human Services Program, and it just changed my life. And I'm here now. And there's more in the book. I'm not going to tell you everything. You have to go to the chat and click the link. And for a small contribution, you can hear my story and other amazing stories. I mean, there's so much I can tell about how MCNY has just transformed everything. But you know what? There's a gentleman, his name is Thomas Bryan Lee. And there was a tragedy that happened in his life. And it drove him to a master's in education. So guess what? He's next.
Growing up, I'm thinking money, money, money. So I'm thinking I have to go business. But I remember the bug to teach was always there. What motivated me to even initiate that type of career change, that type of move, when hearing about a tragic event, young man named Junior, he got murdered brutally at the corner of a bodega. And I remember a lot of people saying, that was very cruel, it was crazy, they were very young. You know, what a tragedy. They were kids that did that, and it was so heinous. And then I just remember thinking a lot of people are talking about the problem, but you know, how are we really fixing the problem? These kids are coming in hungry. They're seeing things that they not necessarily should have been exposed to at a young age. I remember saying to myself, that would be my ultimate gratification, to pour myself out and invest, but not in myself. I'm investing really in tomorrow's generation. Yeah. Because MCNY practice what it preaches, it empowered me to follow the ones that are marginalized, maybe not really paid attention to like that.
Wait, have you all actually seen Thomas on the New York City bus? I mean, isn't it pretty amazing? Like, you see our student population everywhere. And yes, that's including me. I'm on a bus too. But no, really, our college only is a half a century old, and we have made the biggest and best strides in the community. We literally have power of purpose. We take purpose-centered education and bring it out of the classroom into our everyday lives, into our work lives, into our family lives. And that's where the transformation actually is.
If I was the one who told her to come here, you know, children probably wouldn't want to come.
I was working at a dentist's office and I just walked in one day and signed up. It's like, really? Are you going, what's the name of the school? And I said, I'm going to Metropolitan College. And I'm like, what? It's the same school. And yeah, she was like, okay, well, following in my footsteps.
When I was at Educator College back then, it really make me see things, you know, in a different perspective.
When I first came here, I was just like looking for the fastest way to graduate, to get a degree so I could get a good job, make more money. And then now that I'm going through the different purposes, the different classes, learning different things, I'm more so geared towards helping other people, learning all of the disparities within the healthcare community and how I can change those things. MCNY has definitely put me in a different mindset to want to help people, to want to change the world. She'll say certain things like, I'm going to be good because I know you're doing so much. You have so much to deal with, mommy, so I'm going to be good. And that makes me feel like it's all worth it because she understands that I'm doing this all for her. Like, so she tried to help out. And so does this one.
This one.
Getting older and I wanted a degree, and I wanted some credential in the work that I was doing because I was already doing organizing from the age of 14. MCNY helped me build a network, a community, and it also gave me, I know this sounds so cheesy, but it definitely gave me hope and made me look at things, even more in depth. I really just thought I was gonna come in and come out, and I did not know that I was going to meet great people and come to a great institution. And those relationships that I built at MCNY, I still have those same relationships. These are the same people I call for advice, for references, or for anything, pretty much. So my day-to-day at MCNY was, I was always getting my hands into anything around organizing and changing something, We did stuff around food justice, urban gardening, Who would have ever thought? I'm a kid from the projects in the South Bronx. I never thought about urban gardening. MCNY really gave me a purpose and helped me realize what I want to do outside of this.
Hey, I'm the Dr. Bob Lee, and I've been called the voice of the community. And I am honored to have the opportunity to give a voice to so many that don't have a platform like WBLS, BronxNet, or the Make the Grade Foundation. Helping empower communities is something I have in common with the alumni and students of Metropolitan College of New York. The book, Power of Purpose, tells the stories of people who have made an impact in their communities and workplace. The agents of change, true agents of change. I have a book. Make a donation of $30 or more and you'll get a book. Your donation will make a difference for students who are making a difference.
Bob, you are so right. And you know what? For a contribution of $30, just $30, it's so easy. Just go to the chat. There's a link in the chat. You click on that link. You contribute your $30. And you're part of Power of Purpose. It's so easy. You'll hear some amazing stories, read about, you know what? Let me just be clear. Just because they're amazing, it doesn't mean they're all positive. Sometimes the process of going through the struggle is what makes this so amazing. And one thing I do know for certain, hands down experience is Metropolitan College, MCNY, has some of the best professors that have supported me and have transformed my hardest times into uplifting times. An outlook has changed in myself. And so I would love for you to be a part of that. I would love for you to be able to read some of these stories and some of the experiences that people have had and have come to understand that that's just part of their purpose. That's just part of their life's journey.
What brought me to MCNY was actually being on the train and looking up and seeing the ad. I figured that I needed or wanted to learn a little bit more in regards to researching. When you have like an academic component to it, it kind of enhances your skills, and that's pretty much what I was looking for. My second purpose at MCNY with Preserve Our Legacy It definitely assisted me to be able to research and find key information that definitely worked for my purpose. So the mission became to educate individuals about the benefits of stem cells and treatment options they provide. Because during the research here at MCNY, I was able to identify a lot of mistrust factors historically for individuals from various ethnic groups. MCNY changed my life because it taught me the ability to research. It was like a marriage in a sense. And what I mean is a marriage to my go-getter mentality, to the research efforts to make me fight for patients that are in need, the confidence that I needed. So it also enhanced my confidence level.
I chose MCNY because of the accelerated program. So when I was going to school here, I was working full-time. And so the accelerated program was tough, but I had my classmates there and I had my professors. So if I had to travel, they were helping take notes. They were, we had chat rooms that we would be involved with. After graduating here, I was offered an opportunity to come back and teach American government. And I also taught history, I taught business. And so all of those opportunities gave me an opportunity to pour back into others what was given to me. I tell my students, don't get disconnected. Stay connected to the college, become a part of the alumni, because as the school pour into you, you'll be able to pour back into others and encourage and empower them as well. I believe that it is absolutely imperative that we have institutions like Metropolitan College of New York. And I believe that strong-heartedly because it's an institution that is not just giving our students theory. But when you're actually looking at that theory and then taking that theory and putting it into practice, right? It's a total different ballgame. The result of hearing me talk about the purpose-driven education. My eldest daughter decided to come here, and then she encouraged her god sister to come to Metropolitan, and she came to Metropolitan and completed the program as well. So the legacy is deep. You want your kids to follow in your footsteps when it's a positive thing, right? So to see them follow in your footsteps and bring other people along, that's like even extra special. So it's super, super special for me.
Wow, those are some really inspiring stories. Don't forget, with a simple $30 donation, you can read about inspirational stories from MCNY and receive this book, The Power of Purpose. It's an excellent book. A lot of great alumni are in it. A lot of great inspirational stories are in there. And it will really go to help the school and the students, such as myself, pursue their education at all different levels. And the school is a definite benefit for me. So make sure you donate. Click that button below.
That one-year program, it really changed my life. Being equipped on how to negotiate, being equipped on how to put into my educational gains into practice. So when I left here and I graduated, it gave me an opportunity at work to really practice what I learned at MCNY. So it was a great experience. Purpose-centered education. When I first came in, I was like, what is this all about? I did my research, but I really wasn't understanding of the impact it would have on my lives and my co-students. I was the type of student that I would bug my professors. I would call them, I would email when I needed something, and they were always there to answer. I wasn't a number. I wasn't like, oh, speak to my assistant. It was, they picked the phone up and say, Gary, how are you? How can I help you? What are you having trouble with?
So that was a real awakening for me.
What my CA was about is improving customer service. In other institutions, it may be known as a thesis. At MCNY, we call it a constructive action because we're putting something in, we're learning a skill, we're putting it into play as far as what's meaningful to the student. What are they trying to change? What are they trying to improve?
We have what? Communication. You can't have one without that.
So being a student at MCNY, it was the perfect setting for me. It's small, it's intimate as far as the classroom settings. It's not a large lecture hall. It's maybe 15 students to a class. So in the end, we were very supportive of one another. We kind of built a family. And to today, I'm still in contact with many of my classmates, and we talk about our successes, but it also gives us an opportunity to talk about our challenges, and we're still learning from one another.
Wow. Well, let's meet another and hear another inspirational story from one of our wonderful grads. Corrine Foster. She's actually from 2007 and a graduate of 2017.
MCNY was the start of my new perspective. My whole trajectory of my life changed when I came to MCNY.
We're celebrating the strength that
I originally went to MCNY and graduated with my bachelor's in human services in 2007. And then I came back in 2015 and graduated with my master's in public administration and affairs. I had an extremely painful childhood. So it felt bleak. It felt like there was no preferred alternative future for me. I couldn't figure out how I was going to be a mom, work, and go to school. But I did it. When I think about the woman I was when I started at Metropolitan College in New York, I think she was brave, and I'm really proud of her. Oh my God, I'm crying. Because there was nothing that told her that she could be me. There was nothing around me that told me that I could be the successful woman. Metropolitan College of New York gave me moments that really changed the way I see the world, the way I perceive myself. Those moments that I've had at Metropolitan have really changed me and affected me, and I'm excited about where the college is going. I'm grateful for where it was because it helped me become who I am, and it's definitely gonna help me with who I'm becoming.
Wow, what can I say? That is a beautiful story. I mean, amazing. And there are more. There's so many more. There's actually 30 stories, amazing stories that you can be a part of and you can read. And you know what? This book, aside from it being just a beautiful book, it's a great coffee table book. If you want to come back to school, if you know any of your family members, friends, children of friends that want to go back to school and you want them to be a part of a great tradition, you can just share this book. Click the link in the chat. Contribute. It's a small contribution. It's only $30. You can read about our power of purpose. It's actually beautifully done. And Thomas Weber did an amazing job on this book. And we're so grateful. We're so honored. I'm honored to be a part of our event tonight. I'm honored to share my story with everyone. And I'm just so grateful to everyone who's been a part of this. And to my fellow alum, we got this. We did this. So join us, contribute, go to the chat, click the link, offer your contribution, and be a part of Power of Purpose.
Well, good evening, everyone. Once again, thank you for joining us for the Power of Purpose book launch. My name is Yussuf Khan, and these are some of the people whose stories are in the Power of Purpose. First, we have Humphrey Crookendale, Vice President of Academic Affairs at Metropolitan College of New York. VP Crookendale is the longest serving member of the MCNY faculty and has been teaching for 37 years. And we also have some great alums who also found power through purpose, including Corrine Foster, Adlette Charmant-Oliver, Cassiana Laventure, Thomas Bryan Lee, Terry Coxum, and Gary Jenkins. And now I'm going to pass it off to a great host, Mr. Vice President Crookendale. Mr. Crookendale, microphone is yours.
Thank you so very much, Yussuf, and good evening to all of you. Before I begin these interviews of alums, and you have heard and seen many of them this evening, and they're very powerful presentations, just a little bit about Metropolitan College of New York again. And in doing so, I want to invoke the president's name, because very often in her travels around the city of New York, looking to drum up funds to support the college, she has always been met with the query, but you guys as an institution are a for-profit institution. And it pains her to have to remind them, no, this is not who Metropolitan College is. We are a not-for-profit institution. And it is because of that and our size that she is always out in the external world looking to beat the bushes to get financial support for our college. That is one of the challenges of a small institution. In addition to that, very often students come to Metropolitan College, and I say to colleagues of mine that if you want to teach at Metropolitan College, you have to come with a predisposition that it's going to require heavy lifting, because our students come with all kinds of sociological problems. Notwithstanding, they're graduating and do remarkable things in the city of New York. And so it is my great pleasure this evening to have an opportunity to interview some of our alums. And as I listened to Terry and her presentation, and she talked about herself and her daughter, this is so very characteristic of Metropolitan College of New York. We are noted for educated mothers, and then daughters, and then the children of those daughters. And I know there are board members on tonight. Maybe we should have a policy that says, if you come from a long tradition, the tuition will remain the same, so we can educate fifth and sixth generations all at the same time. But that is a good segue to a mother-daughter alum tonight. That is Cassiana and Adlette. And so, Cassiana, I want to start with you, and I want you to share with our audience tonight some of your thoughts about your experience at Metropolitan College of New York and purpose-centered education.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Welcome to this book launch. My experience at MCNY has been a whirlwind. I started my bachelor's degree and just recently graduated, and now I'm almost one purpose away from finishing my master's in community health education. I, just as Corrine said, the lady that started back in my bachelor's degree is not the same lady sitting here before you guys. I've really transformed myself in ways that I didn't even see possible. I've been able to grow 2 businesses. I've been able to learn so much more about myself. And that is all through the purpose-centered education that I learned from MCNY.
Thank you so much, Cassiana. And Adlette, let the mother now talk about her experience. And your daughter couldn't borrow any of your CAs. So you tell us a little bit about your experiences at Metropolitan College and the importance of purpose-centered education in the master's program.
Hello, everyone. I graduated from Human Services, and I continued on. And I also earned a Master in Public Administration. I started with Educator College, just, so I can, set the tone, because it was way back then, before 2000. I've always been a caring person all my life, willing to lend a helping hand. My education at MCNY empowered me to be more purpose-oriented, while working in the health and human services. I have worked with an eclectic population of people with HIV/AIDS, people with intellectual and physical disabilities. MCNY provides me with the perfect foundation in learning about myself and others. And when I started learning about myself, I said, I know myself, why, I have to do that purpose. But after I was done with me and then self and other, and I said, I didn't know myself as I thought I did. So that was, really great in my life. I was able to incorporate my studies to my everyday life, because it's not just book. As you're working and going to school, it's just like going from this room to that room. There was always overlapping. That's the beauty of MCNY. I'm very fortunate to say that I love my job, because for me, it's not work, it's a calling. This is where I get to make a difference in someone's life every day. As a department head, I aim to develop my staff and lead by example. I use every occasion as a teachable moment for them. My approach in serving our population is person-centered. It's all about that person. Just as doing a constructive action, that's how I approach serving our population.
Thank you so much. Because I want to make sure that I get to hear everyone tonight. And so please forgive me. We want to get an opportunity to hear a lot more as we move on tonight. But I want to move on to Thomas. And here is a young man that started out in a business world, but quickly saw his calling that he could do much more for his community as a teacher. And in the midst of all of that, we are confronted with the pandemic that forced you to change and your approach to teaching. And I'm just curious, Thomas, if you could share the experiences that you gained at Metropolitan College to allow you to pivot from being in the classroom teaching and addressing the challenges of the pandemic while still trying to educate young minds. Talk a little bit about this, Thomas.
What a relevant question, right? Because starting today, the high school went right back into in person. A few weeks ago, we got a new chancellor. So that goes to show you that the environment is still changing. MCNY was absolutely the conduit in which I was best equipped to handle what's going on now. I'm going to go ahead and do the teacher thing real quick and read a quick definition. Dictionary.com, the first one at the top. Okay, it says the definition for purpose, the reason in which something exists, is done, made, or used. I firmly believe that everyone is created with a purpose. I feel that it's our responsibility through life to find out what that is. And I think that when we find ourselves in a peaceful place, thriving, that's when we know we found our purpose. I absolutely believe that MCNY was intentional when naming each semester a purpose, because every semester in which I did the 3-semester program, the 1-year dual certification for the MSED, everything had a purpose. You asked, how was I equipped to what's going on in this pandemic? So being in the classroom, and everyone has a different learning style, but being in the classroom, and I said before, taking what you're learning and being able to adapt it in real time is a night and day thing. Getting your hands on curriculum, meeting with these students. I don't have to name other names of other programs, but MCNY is unique to what they offer. So when, actually, check this out. There was actually a class dedicated to teaching math to the younger grades. And we were getting involved with a program called IXL. As soon as the pandemic hit, obviously everything switches to virtual. I already had experience with IXL, gives analytics in real time to what a student is getting right, what they're getting wrong, has recommendations. Again, I was already exposed to this BC, before COVID. This was not even to equip me to go remote. So again, I say everything that was done by MCNY with the structure of their course, getting exposed to a D75 school, devising lesson plans. So when a pandemic hits and I have to switch remote, I'm not rattled because I had to innovate and adapt and be, cognizant of my time management all throughout those 3 semesters and apply what I'm learning in real time, see what works for me, see what doesn't. And then again, it's incredible that, you see the trickle effect. MCNY gets that learning is fluid, learning is case by case person. And because of that, I'm now able to relay that to elementary school students in such a wild time and actually live out my purpose with power.
Thank you so much, Tom, and you said it so eloquently. Thank you so very much. I have a problem with math because I know Yussuf said that I've been at the college for 37 years, and I don't understand it because I taught Corrine when she was in the human service program, and then I saw her again when she was taking her master's in public administration, and I'm not sure as to how we get 37 years out of that, but it is a pleasure and it's a joy to see Corrine and your eloquent presentation. And I wanted to ask you, Corrine, you said that, and I believe that this is a quote to that you were not someone that was supposed to make it. And I want you to explain that in further detail within the context of the meaning of it at Metropolitan College of New York.
Absolutely. So thank you guys so much for inviting me to speak. I love you all so much. Y'all are my almost like my first family, because I became like a new person while spending time with you guys. In me not being the person who was supposed to make it, the data of a Black woman living in the projects, single mother, from a family that doesn't have, means and resources, my trajectory was that I wasn't supposed to, certainly wasn't supposed to have a bachelor's degree, and then definitely not supposed to be part of the elite. I think it's 15-20% of the population that have master's degrees. And so, me being able to get through the process required a different structure. I would not have been able to survive a traditional model of education. 4 years, drawn out with 4 babies at the time would have never happened for me. Now, did I miss night's sleep? Yes, I did. Did I live off of coffee for 3 years? Yes, I did. But it was possible. Whereas if I would have went a traditional route of 15, 12 credits a semester, kind of, here and there, it would have been drawn out to the point that by the time I would have gotten my bachelor's degrees, my kids would have been looking at their bachelor's degrees. But I was able to accomplish in a short period of time, which able to transfer credits in and get the baseline of an education done. But what changed it for me was not just a matter of achieving a bachelor's degree. It was learning how to process information and utilize it in every situation. And so when Laventure was talking about the self and others class, like I know myself, I literally have to do self and others for myself every year or so. The things that we learn in the classes teach you how to learn in life over and over. Because one thing we find for sure is that, while we encourage higher education, we want, people to have their education so that they know how to learn. We know that there will always be a new mountain.
but will you have the skill to climb it? And what MCNY gives you is the skill to climb each mountain, because you know how to process information, you know how to do research. And so it wasn't a matter of could I do it? I had the intellect to do it, but the process, MCNY gave me the process on how to do it, that everything doesn't have to look like what the world says it looks like. MCNY looked like something I'd never seen before. It was not traditional, and I fit in there. So intellectually, I could have competed in any, high-ranking Ivy League school, but ultimately my life didn't fit in, and I felt safe at MCNY. I felt accepted at MCNY. It gave me the ability to understand that my life wasn't a vacuum, that I wasn't isolated, that there were other people who looked like me, who came from what I came from, who achieved greatness. And, once you get in Crookie's class, you know that every type of crazy can achieve. And so, it's been a great experience.
Thank you so much, Corrine. That's a good segue. We don't want to hear anything about Crookie tonight. I now turn to Terry, and I'll get in trouble. The president will chastise me down the road somewhere. But Terry's daughter was in my class. And one of the wonderful motivational tools that you can use is to tell students, don't let me have to talk to your mother. And so that was the sword of Damocles always on top of Terry's daughter when she was a graduate student at Metropolitan College of New York. But with that said, I now turn to you, Terry. You graduated from Metropolitan College of New York in the School for Business, but you also have had a wonderful career working with who is now the leader of the Senate, Chuck Schumer. You worked on the staff of President Obama. And so I'm wondering if you could share with us this wealth of knowledge and how it all came together at Metropolitan College, and how do you now use that information to now pass that wealth of knowledge on to succeeding students? Terry.
First of all, I'd like to thank you so much, Dean Crookendale, for allowing me to be a part of this segment, and to Tina and to the entire staff and to the president and all of my fellow colleagues that are on today who are doing some phenomenal, amazing things. For me, it all came together with my professors. The professors at Metropolitan College truly believe in you, and they pour into you, they encourage you, they inspire you with all the stories. And, and for me, it was that 1-year master's degree, right? So when, and like some of my other colleagues may attest, I saw this billboard that said I can get my master's in business administration in 1 year. I was immediately intrigued by that. And so reaching out to Metropolitan College and understanding and feeling the love and the support, which was what was really needed for me. As Dean Crookendale said, I worked for Senator Schumer at the time. I was the first African-American deputy state director for him, first African-American woman. And so having that job, I covered the 62 counties in New York. And so there were some days that I wasn't able to be in class. And my colleagues that were in class with me, they made sure they took great notes. I checked in with my professors and let them know when I had to travel or to be in DC at a hearing, and they made it come together for me, Dean. They really were very supportive. They, helped me through a lot of time. There were a lot of sleepless nights. I heard some of my fellow classmates talk about very long days and very long nights, but we were able to get through because we had the support of the college, we had the support of the administration, and more importantly, we had a mastermind group within ourselves. So we were supporting each other through this experience, and that's what made it all work out. And then of course, getting that business degree, that master's in business administration, and having the opportunity to work for the first Black president of the United States in the U.S. Small Business Administration, that also was very impactful, because that purpose-driven education gave me practice in addition to theory that I learned in class. And so that's what brought it all together for me.
Thank you so very much, Terry. Um, Before I ask my question of the next alum, Gary Jenkins, uh, you know, I have a narcissistic streak in me. Um, and that narcissism allows me to proudly proclaim that if you come to Metropolitan College, there's a very great likelihood that you will be a leader in the city of New York. And so this next person, this young man, is one of those people that has been trained at Metropolitan College. He would not be a leader in the city of New York, but for the fact that he came to Metropolitan College of New York and got his master's in public administration. And so with that, Gary, you work for HRA, one of the largest municipal agencies in the city of New York, in a lot of ways principally charged with addressing issues of poverty and making sure that citizens in New York do not fall through the safety net. And so I had this question. You posted on YouTube that even while working in the front lines, you too was challenged by COVID-19. So my question to you, Gary, is how did your graduate education prepare you to be a leader on the front lines in times such as these, with a pandemic raging around the world? Can you speak to that? Because it gives me great joy to see you here tonight.
And it's my pleasure to be here, VP Crookendale. I still want to call you Dane Crookendale because that's who I know you as. But I know and want to respect your title as Vice President Crookendale. So for me, MCNY, it really laid the foundation for my professional career. I was able to not only learn from my professors, but I also was able to learn from my classmates who came from a diverse background. We were able to dig into topics such as, in a small classroom setting, that we looked at how to establish a budget, how to work in group dynamics, and just simply how to create a measurement tool. So all of those things to which I was able to integrate into my management skill. When it came to the pandemic, none of us was prepared for it at all. At the onset, my immediate supervisor was reassigned to City Hall to lead the task force for racial inclusion and equity. And I was asked to step in and lead our organization of approximately 14,000 staff members. We didn't have the option to close or to say, we can't deliver services. We had to be there to deliver public assistance services. And it was like 2- and 3-fold was the need of New Yorkers during the pandemic. So I was responsible for turning our workforce overnight into a telework operation. That was no small feat. And I learned from MCNY that one person can't do it alone. I needed my team to be engaged and remain motivated during those very trying times. That was one of my key learnings that I acquired while attending MCNY. It was all about teamwork, it was planning, and it was predicting. Again, all of those qualities and skills I learned from MCNY. And I am proud to be an MCNY alumni, but I'm also equally proud to currently to serve on the board of trustees at MCNY, and I was an adjunct professor. So I want to make sure that I keep giving back from the institution that made me into the leader that I am.
Thank you so very much, Gary. This time has come and gone far too quickly, and I can't resist it. I know that there are board members on, but I can't resist this. There is this old biblical story that asks the question, can any good thing come out of this little no-name city? Speaking of Nazareth. And I suspect that one could make the equivalency by asking the question, well, what good could come out of a little institution like Metropolitan College of New York? But in point and of fact, great things come from this little institution. And so I want to encourage all of you tonight to support this little institution, because out of it come magnificent leaders, great leaders that dominate the city. And so it has been my distinct privilege to be able to interview and to question alums so that the greater audience can get a little taste of the sheer breadth and scope of what Metropolitan College of New York does for its students, as is represented by the alum here tonight. And so with that, I reluctantly and jealously is going to turn the remainder back to Yussuf for fear that that I might continue to preach for the rest of the night. With that, back to you, Yussuf.
Well, thank you, Vice President Crookendale. And I must say, you must have been teaching when you were a baby, because you don't look like you're a day over 37. So
thank you.
Definitely keep it up, whatever you're doing. So thank you again. And I want everyone to know that I couldn't be prouder of my degree from MCNY, as it has a rich history of purpose. We, the alumni, staff, faculty, and students of MCNY, are empowered by this sense of purpose that is part of everything that we do. So thank you to everyone who participated in the Power of Purpose project from book to launch. And there's more about this project. You just have to visit mcny.edu/Power of Purpose. And again, thank you all for joining us tonight. Thank you to all of the alumni and everyone else who joined. And I hope everyone has a good evening. Be safe, and good night, everyone.